Quoting the Bible, Revelations. Behold, a pale horse. The man who sat on him was death, and hell followed with him.
What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to 3-Star Draw. I am Down South 77. This is an adult collector channel where, if you couldn't tell, we're usually talking about G.I. Joe Classified. Every once in a while, I'll take a look at some other stuff that I like too. Like to show you other guys, other things that I am interested in. That's what we're going to do today, because we've had a little bit of a lull in the G.I. Joe stuff, which is okay because my wallet needs a break from it. When the floodgates open, it's going to be bad. So I'm kind of enjoying that. However, the other stuff that's coming out is taking advantage of me. So I did get a couple things in that I had pre-ordered. But we're not looking at those today. We're going to look at something I didn't have pre-ordered. However, I did do a fair bit of trading to acquire this just yesterday. This is the Conabus horse from the Mythic Legions, the new Necronominous wave. So I love dead things. That didn't come out right. I love skeleton things. And this is a skeleton freaking horse. This thing looks awesome. I didn't pre-order it, but I did get it here. I hope it is as awesome as it looks. There is something from this wave that I think looks a whole lot better that it functions. Don't mean it's not cool. I wish it was as awesome as the presentation is. But we're looking at the horse today. We got to judge the horse separately. Don't go judging horses before you ride them. I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy out. I'm probably going to have to go take Pretzel out, and I'll be back. See if we can see anything else here of him. Show the box real quick. Not much, just me and a turned off ring light. Turn that on here in just a minute. Here is Conabus when he was alive. You got your Necronominous insignia down here. And then you got the man himself and all of the other 3 of the evil faction leaders here. You got a little bit of your story down here. If you guys don't know that, if you want to pause it and read it, now's the time. And then over here, you do have the portrait of post-life Conabus. And you do have the blurb about Conabus. And I don't always read these. I'm going to read this one because it's awesome. So, the skeletal steed of Necronominous, Conabus is every bit the vision of horror that his master is. It is said that the clopping of Conabus's hooves awakens the dead, and then the touch of his master's relic weapon, the God Razor, brings them back from the peace of the grave and makes them a soldier in his undead army. Once risen, they form up like supplicants behind the Lord of Death, moving in unison with the clopping of his pale horse. So I just thought that was awesome. I knew I'd screw up at least one word in there, so that way if you're driving or doing the dishes or something, you know what little horsey here is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy out. You can see a little bit more of him now that we don't have that reflection of the plastic in the way, so I'll go ahead and get him out. I just was going to show you what he looks like before you start cutting him out of the little ties there. Did want to point out that on the ties, they even wrapped the ties in plastic, these thicker ones that are holding the neck and the torso in, so as not to scuff up the plastic. And we do want to point out that, as with most all Mythic Legion stuff, you get this awesome backdrop with it here. So this is a very Hordak looking, very slime pit, so somebody's head probably just blew up saying that on a Mythic Legions review, but you can set him up on that. It looks very cool. All of the Legions, their card backs on the inside have that. So as you can see, I do have my Headless Horseman and horse out. This is the only other Mythic Legion horse that I have for comparison. So, of course, I grabbed it. I don't know what that horse's name is. Did they ever name that horse? There's probably somebody going, yeah, don't you know there was a whole bunch of Headless Horseman comics and the horse's name is Tom? No, I didn't. So, all right, I got that out of the way. So let's just look at this guy, man. Just admire this horse for just a minute. This thing is sweet. He does come with these two shields, and I just noticed that they are different colors on the inside. So the copper color on the shield here is on the ring here, and this one it's reversed, where this one is the center is the copper bronze color and the ring is silver. It's reversed where you got a silver center and bronze ring, and so are the rivets. Thought that was cool that it was just they completely mirror each other. So I'm guessing that is probably one is mirroring life and death. I don't know. That's the way it's going to be in my head till I hear different. So let's check this guy out, man. He's before I even try to take anything off of him, let's just look at how he is here. Let me angle my camera down just a little bit so we can take him all in. That's what she said. So back here you have this metal armor that is riveted together. You got these gold brass rivets here. Back here you have, I don't know what you call what goes over the back leg of a horse, but it is leather. You got a metal ring looking there. Not actual metal, but dang, it looks like it, doesn't it? So you really get some nice detail, some nice sculpt work in this leather, in this harness. I guess I'm going to call it a harness. I don't know what else to call it. You got little rings and stuff hanging off of it. That may be where the shields go. I'll have to actually look and see if that's where they go for armor for the back. I think that's where they go. So moving on to the saddle. Nice leather looking saddle, different color leather straps. Of course, all these rings and buckles, these are all, they all look like metal. They're not metal. But then you have this really leathery feeling, all of this stuff. I mean, it actually does look and feel like leather. This swings on the stirrup. And you're probably going to need to, imagine, bend this a little bit so somebody's feet can sit in there. There's a loop there and a loop there, so perhaps you can hang the shields there. I guess you can put them wherever you can put it wherever you want. And then underneath you actually have this frayed look for the horse blanket that the saddle sits on. Up here in the front you have some more awesome harness work, the two-tone leather up front. Got your silver rings hooking all this stuff together with your rivets there. Then up front you do have some more armor along the neck. And look, I mean, this one's like it's missing a rivet. There's so much detail in it that like they did it where it's actually missing a rivet. And then let's move around to the front. This is his adornment that hangs off the front of him. You got a, looks like another horse skull here. Got some other bones hanging off. A couple more shields here. These, I guess, are... These look like a lot of the Mythic Legion shields, so I guess these could be trophies from people that Necronominous has resurrected and scripted into his service. You got this awesome looking gold skull here with even a rivet going through it here holding it on. More of your chain, your metallic rings there holding all this together. Got more rings, or another ring I should say, hanging off the front here. I can't get over how awesome this all looks with this other skull and like I guess that's probably a femur. I don't know my horse skeletal anatomy as well as I should, I guess. And you got some other, like a rib bone and some other bone. You can see it. He's got bones everywhere. And you go around and check out this side. More of the same over here on this side. And on this side, missing a rivet on the second to the closest from the rider, and on this side it's the closest to the rider. So that's really cool that they did that, where it's actually just missing some rivets, just the amount of detail that goes into it. And then over here, of course, you got your other side, you got your other stirrup, and it actually looks like you can probably remove this. Yep, so that will come off of it. I was wondering how big that peg was, because there's a peg there. I thought maybe you can move this down, but it's clearly a different size. Let's see if I can get that snapped back in there. It went in pretty well. So of course back here you got another strap in the back, and then you got your other side that does not match. It's completely sculpted different over here. So you got a ring over here, a ring over here. Over here you've got one strap, you got a couple of straps over here. And then I was wondering if any of this all hooked together. So it looks like it just all sets on there. So then he actually even has armor on the tail piece here. It just looks like hammered, stamped metal. All of this matches up really well. Of course, you got the end of his tail down here. Until you can move the tail around. So check out the paint work on the bone on this guy. So even the hooves, I thought maybe the hooves would be black, but the hooves even look like bone. You got a crack back there on the back one. Not ready to take that off yet. So hold all that on there. I thought all of that stuff tied on there, but I guess it doesn't. So you got all of this sculpt work here, different cracking on this back hoof and this front right hoof. So no reuse on the hoofs. You got some swivel there right above the knee joint. So you're gonna be able to get this guy in a lot of poses. This, the Four Horsemen, the Headless Horseman horse is not very posable. He's weird to pose around. So I don't do a whole lot with that horse, but I feel like this guy's a lot more posable. Then he's got the bridle here going to the reins. It does have this awesome skull here. Got it's like another kind of a shield, but it looks like it's, I guess it helps if I show it. I'm looking at this, not at the screen. So this actually looks like it's made out of bone with some sort of metal medallion in the middle of it. And I'm trying to see if that looked like it was different color bone. I think it's just the white. So now I'm ready to remove this stuff. So this comes off really easily. I thought maybe there'd be something to lock this in. Like maybe this would go around and you could fasten it like with a real buckle. So we'll go ahead and look at the underside of it. This even looks like worn leather under the other underside of it. And then you've got the metal painted all the way through here. All looks hammered. And this has got pegs, so it does actually snap on here. So it just wasn't together. It had come loose in shipping. So that actually snaps onto the saddle and holds that in place. So it was just loose in transit. It doesn't fit in there super tight. So let's set that over there. I know what you guys want to get to. I want to get to it too. Move this back up just a bit now. Let's go ahead and check out the saddle. And does this peg in somewhere? Because it is attached to him, and I know this comes off. So, because I know you've got to be able to unsnap this somewhere. Oh wow, the blanket is actually a separate piece under it. I did not realize that. I don't know if the Headless Horseman saddle is the same or not. I've never actually removed the saddle on that horse. So let's look at the blanket. So it is not a full piece underneath it. It is just sculpted on the ends, but it actually does look like frayed wool or fur or something. Maybe that's wolf fur. So I'm trying to figure out how to get this off. I may actually have to stop and I don't feel like you should have to do this to get this off of here, but that's how we're going to do it for now. So let's check this guy out, man. He has meat hanging off of the bone. Keep moving the camera because I'm not sure exactly where I want this to show it up close. So you can actually see this meat where it's peeling away all the way down his back on the flank here, going down the back. I'm just admiring this a little bit here in the front of the ribs. And then of course you have the rib cage here. It's fantastic, man. It's so much detail in all of this. Then over here on this side you have similar, not the same piece. I'm just trying to look and see where the different cracking and stuff is in the on the horse meat. For lack of a different term, because that's what it is here. So this should come off. So we got this part that pops off, and this just goes over what would be his mane. So I guess this is meat too, because it's definitely not bone. These little spiky things underneath the armor here. So that comes off, and seems like this would be a separate piece, but I'm not sure. I can't tell if that's glued in or not. So I don't usually do a lot of glue, but I feel like this probably, I don't know, that's weird that, so he has the part here for that to plug into. What's going on with my camera here? Hold on, let me fix that. Much better. That's what happens when you step on the cable for the camera. So I feel like this piece should come off of here, but I don't want to force it if it's not supposed to. It seems like that is way too, that's glued. All right, so I'm not going to go any further than that. So you never know with these things, with these legions, man. They don't come with any instructions, so you don't ever know what is supposed to come off and what is not. So I thought this would separate from this piece, but it's not meant to, and that's not loose or anything. I didn't pull that loose. That's good to go. So you can take that off, but that's weird that you can't separate this piece from this piece when you've got the hole up here. So that seems very strange. So you should be able to just pull all of this off. This bridle slips off. Take all this off just because this will be easier to show any articulation. So look at that piece, man. A little halter there. Got other separate bones underneath, jaw bones here, or tooth bones. Again, not up to date with my horse anatomy. So let's see how this guy moves, see if we need to warm him up any. So that one's, see if I can get him to break loose a little bit. So you do want to heat these guys up if you feel much resistance. They even come with a piece of paper that says so. So there's your range of motion on your front legs. Looks like it can actually go a little more. That's as much as I am going to chance, so you can get him doing a sudden stop here. They don't really articulate out much in the front. So you do have your single joint knees here. And then you have swivel here. These actually swivel a little bit down here too at the bottom, so you can get this guy. Oh, there goes a piece of paint. That happens with these sometimes. So this is jointed too at the hoof. So you can actually get him. You can actually get him where he's falling down. So this guy is way more articulated than the Headless Horseman horse is. I can't do nearly as much with that horse as I can with this one. Of course, that was the first figura obscura as well. So let's see what we got as far as in the head here. Jaw does not open up. I thought maybe it would, but it doesn't. So there's what the inside of that looks like. So I wish he could look up a little bit more. He can't really look to the side very well. I feel like when you get a little bit of turn, that's where you get your motion with him. There. You don't get he doesn't look up nearly as well as I thought he should be able to. That's okay though. I mean, it's still awesome. So get a good look at the skull there. We hadn't really looked at that yet. Jaw does not open. I was hoping maybe it would, but I didn't know. I haven't watched any reviews on this guy. I haven't seen any reviews show up in my feed. So for me, that was a good sign to go ahead and do a review on him, because that means it's not recommending videos from anybody that I know. So, like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and review this guy. You get this piece of bone back here in the back on the back hoof. You get your same articulation here, or on the back bottom part of the hoof. So see how these move. I don't like, one thing I don't like about this is all these cracks in it. It makes me nervous moving these joints and stuff around. It's pre-cracked, so it makes me a little nervous. And then also have a joint there, so you can move these back legs, so you can actually get this guy where he's just like laying flat if you want. Just about. Let's see. Almost. You can almost get him where he's laying flat. Might be able to get a little bit more than that, but I don't really know why you'd need to, but if you want to, there you go. So I can't get over how awesome this guy is. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but there's different, the way the light hits this, the meat that's on this guy, the way the light hits it, it really does, you can make it look like it has different textures, where, you know, you get say a steak and one part of it is darker than the other part. There's a little bit of paint wash on this, and you can actually see where it looks like there's not veins, but the capillaries and stuff underneath there. Get little pits in it. I mean, it looks like it is rotting meat. I hope you're not eating while you're watching this. Or if that's your thing, I hope you're having a nice steak while you're watching this. Let's see if we can get the Headless Horseman horse. Like, it's really hard to get all four hooves on the ground with that guy for me on my copy of that guy. So, wondering with him if it's easier. You can tell this guy definitely has way more articulation than the Headless Horseman horse or steed or whatever. So, yep, you can. I'm going to angle that hoof a little bit, but yeah, you can definitely do that with this guy. Man, this guy is sweet. Got your spinal cord here. I am a little bit underwhelmed that this piece is not separate. Seems like it really ought to be. You can take off everything else on this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and put him back together and armor him back up, and we'll see what he looks like with a figure on top. So in the process of getting ready to do that, I was looking at the saddle, and we didn't really look at the saddle all that much off of him. He does have the piece underneath here that matches the horse blanket with the strap going underneath it. So this is so it don't rub his belly, but looks like it's too late. But what I was going to show was this does have pegs here, so you can actually undo the stirrups. We saw that if you want to take those off, but the piece that goes underneath, and I don't know what you call this piece, I'm going to call it the strappy piece. So you can unsnap this and take this off of him without having to slide it off. So take and just put that back on, and it snaps on. I got it backwards, but just wanted to show that you can actually do this without having to slide it off. So better safe than sorry when you are learning what you're doing with these things. Alright, you're welcome guys that I spared you from that. This one actually wasn't too bad, trying to put everything back on. Trying to get the mushroom peg back into this this chest strap that he's got. That was probably the hardest part out of all of it, and getting these little spiky things spread back out, because they want to do that. So you got to, and luckily they're bendy, so you have to kind of push them out and spread them to pop this armor piece back on his neck. Other than that, he goes together pretty easy. You can see the pegs are in here. None of this really fits on him super tight, and I did actually look. So the shields don't have handles, they have tabs, and they are meant to cover his hindquarters here, and you can put them pretty much wherever they'll clip on this harness. So you could put them hanging low if you wanted to, but on the website this is where it goes, and luckily it is relatively flexible plastic on those tabs. I was scared to death I was going to break that tab, because some of their harder plastic stuff, man, you do not want to force it. So luckily all that went back together good. So I want to get somebody and put on there, set up in the saddle, and see how looks with somebody on it. And I figured what better figure to do that with than... What's going on, guys? Just me, Death. Yes, sir, Maxilius the Harvester. Do have him. As of now, I don't have a review up on him yet. So, and I do have him kind of relatively stripped down. I don't have his armor plate on and his other stuff. So, I like a more classic Death character look. So let's see. Keep moving this camera around. I think you guys are going to wind up with vertigo watching this. So he does have his robe, so that makes it a little harder to see exactly where you want to set him. Need to get him setting in the saddle a little bit better. There we go. Like he's riding out of hell coming for you. Or wherever that slime pit is. So, where'd my other stirrup go? Get his little bony foot in there. So there we go. It's kind of that back. Now I don't really have him posed perfectly, but you get the idea, man. He looks awesome in there. Get the reins in his hand. Let old Death take the reins. This piece, this bridle piece, nothing holds it on, nothing snaps it on, so it's gonna come off pretty easily. Try to get my hands out of the way. Maxilius's hands are not super flexible like the Legion Builder skeleton over here. His hands seem to be made out of a much harder plastic. So trying to get this thing on here. So you know how these guys are, you kind of gotta, and I have different hands. I've got one of his alternate hands on too, so there we go. So get him gripping the reins. He's gonna pull a hard left turn. That thing's a little bit annoying, but if it's hanging or slack in it. So there you go. You got Death riding on the pale horse there. And of course I do have his scythe or scythe, however you want to say it. There's probably somewhere on this horse to put that. That's probably not the best way, is it? So I wonder if you could go through here and through here. Oh, look at that. There it is. Or you could actually take, I know this has nothing to do with the review of the horse, but I gotta know, and I gotta know so you guys can know. Now you know, and knowing is half the battle, and it's coming to get you. Alright, that was kind of dumb, but yeah, man, this dude is fantastic. Conabus is definitely a pickup if you're into skeletal stuff, the death stuff, Grim Reaper stuff. You like horses, whatever. This dude is definitely worth getting. And Maxilius here looks perfect atop him. Now I know what somebody out there is saying. Somebody probably just actually'd me. Actually, that's not who's supposed to ride Conabus. I know, but the actual figure of death, the actual Grim Reaper, looks way better atop this guy than Conabus's true owner, Necronominous. I will put all of them together. I'm not going to do it in the video. Obviously, I haven't tried putting Necronominous on him yet. But I mentioned earlier in the review, I hope Conabus was a little bit better made than something else I got. So that is Necronominous. This dude looks great. I scrapped my review on this guy. I just trying to put all of this stuff on and get the wings snapped on. I'm going to do a video or a short or something just where I detail the figures. But I did get Necronominous, and he looks so good, I had to go ahead and get the horse. I'm not going to lie, though. Maxilius is going to ride this guy. I think he looks better on him. But anyway, there is Conabus. I don't really rate these figures. I just kind of review them and give you my thoughts on them. This thing is amazing. Definitely worth the price point. Got all kind of articulation. I know I'm not really going all out doing the posing with it. I just wanted you guys to get the idea of what he looks like and what he can do. I'll do some pictures and stuff and probably throw them up on Instagram as soon as I get a chance. I got a really busy weekend coming up. But there is Conabus, and by default, Maxilius the Harvester. Recommend picking both of them up, if nothing else, for a Halloween display. So if you've stuck with it the whole time, guys, I certainly appreciate it. Hit that like button, that subscribe if you're not, all that stuff. Mythic Legions aren't really my bag, but I do pick up the odd few, namely Skeleton and Figura Obscuras. So I do have several on the channel. If you hadn't seen those, by all means, go check them out. But I appreciate it. This has been 3 Star Draw.